record so we can come back to this, because my hope is that I have lots of nuggets for you guys, lots of goodness in store today. This is, as always, guys, our wellness workshop. This is an interactive platform. So there may be some times where I may prompt you to share some of the things that are working for you guys or ask any questions, and I'll do my very best to answer along the way. But I'm so excited for you guys. I'm so excited to be here with you guys tonight. Mondays have truly become one of my favorite days of the week. It's getting to prepare this stuff for you guys. I just get to relearn and reteach myself so much. And I hope that you guys get some value from today as we move into this next pillar within kind of our philosophy. But for those of you joining us for the first time or watching this for the first time, I'm going to give you a little bit more of an explanation of what I mean by that. So welcome once again to the call. I'm Dee, and I'll be walking you through tonight. I'm one of the coaches in our community. So our goal tonight, guys, is to give you some empowering insights and perspectives and some knowledge, some factual knowledge as well, to help you along your way. Our game plan is that, there are lots of things we can do every single day to ensure we best prepare ourselves and our well-being. We talk about that through nutrition. We talk about that through mindset. We talk about that through activity and all the various different ways. So our goal is to give you kind of a grander scope to be able to start kind of looking at all the pieces to the equation. We hope that when you leave here, you're feeling empowered, that, you can start putting some of the simple practices in order, right into kind of your daily operations, and some of the things that you can control. Now, I'm going to be saying a lot of stuff to you guys today. My advice: don't get overwhelmed. Don't think you need to implement everything. Take what works. If you feel or you think of something that intrigues you, dig a little deeper into it, because I'm really only going to go a little bit surface into this for you guys, but just to kind of give a bigger vision into what exactly the mindset component of our journey and our overall health really looks like. And at the end of the day, my goal is always to have some laughs, have some fun along the way. You'll probably hear some puns, you'll probably hear some bad jokes, and you're welcome in advance. And we're going to kick right into it. All right, guys. So at the heart of it, our philosophy. Our goal is to help other people and help ourselves to elevate to our full potential. Well, what does that mean? Well, it's comprised of a couple different components. When people start looking to make a change within their overall health and wellness, they tend to throw everything into one bucket. So what our philosophy really does is it says, let's have all of these things working in concert with each other to really be the healthiest version of us. So we do this through our 80% nutrition, which is combined between healthy whole food eating and our nutrient support. We've chosen to align with Herbalife Nutrition. The list goes on and on for reasons why. We'll have another call in the near future to kind of dig a little bit deeper into that. But that's it, right? It's filling in the gaps where our nutrition's is kind of leaving the spots behind, so we can be at our optimal health and getting the most optimal stuff within our body. So that's 80% of our results. 80% comes from that nutrition. 20% is going to come from moving our body, and activity is great. Yes, it helps enhance our results, whether you're on weight loss or muscle gain or whatever, but it also is such a huge component into our mindset and our overall health in that form as well. So it's an important part, that 20%. But you hear us say and talk about all the time is 100% mindset. You've probably heard me say the magic is in the mindset, because my true belief, guys, and this is my opinion, is that if your mindset isn't in check, the other two are going to be really hard to keep your reins on. Life happens. Things get thrown at us. We get curveballs. All the things happen. We get knocked off kilter. We need to be implementing our mindset work every single day. And we'll talk a little bit about what that could look like in your own story. But really, guys, those three things working in concert with each other is where you're going to see those benefits in your overall health. Again, whether it's, a physical health result or just your overall health mentally as well. But what's beautiful about the community and kind of what also sets us apart, that additional step, is a supportive community that you're part of, is, whether it's through this wellness workshop here, whether it's through our challenges, whether it's through the various platforms that we have, or whether it's just through, some Zooms or, when we can, our social gatherings that we can come together. But you have that supportive community that's cheering you on every single step of the way, which for me was a game changer in my own journey, and I'm forever grateful for. And I love being able to help other people do the same thing. So, in a nutshell, really super quick, what are we doing tonight? What are we covering tonight? We're going to have a little bit of a closer look into mindset and what that really looks like. What does that part of that pillar look like? Within that, we're going to kind of also touch back on covered a few months ago about just a couple tips on managing stress, because within the season we're in right now, I mean, we always are going to hit stress in our lives, whether you're wherever you're at in your journey in life, we're going to hit stress. But now more than ever, I think we can all agree there's a little bit more stress kicking around, right? So it's important to remind ourselves of a couple things. David Hebert, who's one of the doctors who, aligned with Herbalife as well, has given some great tips that I always like to share because it's something I revert back to often. We're also going to head over to Jill. She's going to give us some tips on self-care. One of the most overlooked things, guys, we often forget that we need to be taking care of ourselves as well. I'm going to share with you a delicious hot chocolate recipe as snow. Am I right? What is going on? I mean, it is November, I guess. But we're going to start thinking about some warm things, right? And I hope I don't get in trouble from Soup for the Soul, Chicken Soup for the Soul. I didn't put chicken soup just in case anyone's watching. I'm going to share with you one of my favorite soup recipes as we once again get into the colder weather. And then I'll touch on really quickly for you guys what's kind of coming up next. Perfect. So closer look at some of the other factors around our nutrition. So we all agree we want to be, really consuming the very best that we can, healthy whole foods, getting that excellent nutrient support in us. So where our bodies are working optimally in that facet. That does play an impact, which we'll touch on in just a second when it comes into the mindset and being the healthiest version in mindset as well. So again, we're going to focus right in on that mindset. I made some fancy slides for you that are slower on to you guys because I'm watching here. And we're going to pop right in. Okay. So magic is in the mindset. You've heard me say this before over and over and over again. It's often so overlooked when people are looking at kind of their daily spectrum of everything they need to do. It's like, especially when you're starting your nutrition program or you're starting some sort of health journey, you're like, okay, I'm going to prep my snacks. I'm going to do my meal prep. You're banging it. You're rocking it. You're rocking the nutrition. I'm going to drink my water. But this tends to be the one at the end of the day that gets said, oh, we'll do this tomorrow. Oh, we'll do this tomorrow. Or I'll pop into personal development and I'll be 4 rooms over, but it counts. We don't fully invest in it the way we should. So I'm hoping that by the end of this, we raise the bar of realizing how important it is. So why? Well, studies have shown that there's an indisputable link between, sorry, I'm just moving some stuff around, having a positive outlook and the health benefits, like lowering blood pressure, less heart disease, better weight control, healthier blood sugar levels, and even faced with incurable disease, having a positive feelings and thoughts can greatly improve one's life. Now, guys, disclaimer, I'm just passing along the information that I've gotten from a lot of reputable sources. However, the fact is, if you look back in your own health journey, when you've maybe faced a health challenge, when you've maybe gone through a hard time, when you've focused in on the positive perspective of it, or you've tried to stay positive, the experience is different than when we're focusing on the negative, when we're focusing on the worst case scenario, we're focusing on all the things that can go wrong instead of believing and giving all of our positive force to things going the way, in a positive light. It just makes our mental health, I'm going to use as an example. And again, this is not anything that's, certified. I'm just going from my own experience with dear friends of mine. I'm looking back years and years ago. So no one that's on this call or no one that knows anyone on this call that I'm speaking of, just so we're clear. A good friend of mine, going through a lot of people passing in her life, a lot of rough times going on, sunk down into the rabbit hole of negativity. With that, holding in stress, holding in all of those things, what happens is her body's internal struggles because she's not doing the release. As she starts kind of looking into the positive scope of things, as she starts kind of talking about it, journaling about it, doing some of the things we're going to talk about it, what happens is there's a bit of release. I can speak from my own perspective. When I started developing anxiety around the time my grandfather passed away, I was internalizing. I was eating all the stress. I was focusing on the negative. I was focusing on the negative. I was focusing on the negative. When I started to let myself, and this is retrospective, this is before I realized the value of really focusing on a positive mindset and a positive outcome. Unfortunately, he did pass. But the time that we had together, the time that my health was able to improve from that, it all just kind of goes into that, a positive direction. And again, guys, these are just random examples. I think we all, if we channel within ourselves, can find those moments where when we made the choice to just look in a certain direction, feel a certain thing, not dwell in the thing that makes you want to just curl into a ball, hide into a closet, and just shut out the world. If we make those little steps, and that's a dramatic situation, right? But at the end of the day, guys, our mindset, how we feel about ourselves, it's truly the foundation, but it also can be the biggest roadblock in our health and our success because we get in our own way because of our own stuff that we carry on and on and on with us along the way. Things that work against us, our limiting beliefs. If you guys have any of these, like put ones in here. If any of these speak to you of things that either you're working through right now or you've been working through, or you're maybe in a few champion through, gosh, I love you. Because this for me is every day we're working through this stuff. Limiting beliefs, fear of failure, fear of success, fear of what other people think. Things that have happened along the way in our childhood that we're still hanging on to. Guys, I will admit, I still have issues calling people because of an issue that happened in grade 7. I acknowledge it's ridiculous that I'm holding on to it. Right? But we just do for whatever reason. And it's a constant thing we got to work through. But when you're working and plugging into the things we're going to talk about in a second, it allows you to kind of just change your scope for it and not let it own you so much. Allows you to take the reins and take a little bit more control. Influence of the media can be one. Your ego, the inner critic. You have to remind me, Cheryl, I can't remember what Dion calls her, as Bertha, I think is what she calls her. That inner critic that's just telling you all the things that, it's just that your protective ego that's just protecting you. But at the end of the day, can be the thing that can sabotage you. And the negative self-talk. All of these things can be the things that hold us back. But sometimes we don't realize that we're actually a negative thinker. Sometimes we don't realize that that's happening. I certainly didn't until I started to really evaluate myself. And I was like, even looking back at this, I was like, oh my gosh, I used to do this so much and I didn't even realize. I always thought it was a value as someone working and producing. I would talk to my client and be like, we're just in the event that no one shows up because there's a tornado for this show. How many tickets do we need to sell? Like, not to my client, that was usually my own shows. But yes, there's some value a little bit, and I guess in that, but my brain was just was just in the worst case scenario for whatever reason it was. And again, guys, these two things may, no matter how much work you're doing on your mindset, they may still pop up because we're evolving. We're always evolving. We're faced with new challenges all the time, but these are just good things to just be aware of, filtering, for example, like, when you have, when you just focus on the negative thing of the day. And that can happen when there's, a challenging thing happening at home. But think about all the good things. We talk about celebrating our wins for that exact reason. I used to be really guilty. I've gotten a bit better of not being able to accept a compliment. I would switch the conversation so fast if I got a compliment. I would be complimenting your dog so quick, like whatever I could so that I could not take it. That was something that I needed to own and acknowledge. It's not a bad thing to accept a compliment. Personalizing. When something bad happens, automatically blaming yourself. I don't know about you. If any of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, these still pop up for me too. I think I just did personalizing today. Catastrophizing. I think I said that right. You automatically anticipate the worst case scenario. Exactly. Same thing, right? Oh, I'm going to be late for work. I'm going to go to the coffee shop. They're going to be out of my coffee. Oh, I'm going to go to the restaurant. They're going to have given away my table. They're like, you're automatically assuming the worst situation when that's not necessarily the case, right? It's not the case. Polarizing. You see things either as good or bad. There's no middle ground. There's no in between. When really there could be an incredible learning experience in front of you. All right, creating the new habit of positive thinking. So this is important when we start looking at ways that we can work towards, just enhancing our mindset. If you want to be more, identifying the areas where you need to change, where you need to work on. If you want to be more optimistic and engage in more positive thoughts, you just kind of have to be aware of where they need to switch. What are some of your triggers? Checking yourself throughout the day. I know I do this still very often. Finding those moments where reframing it a little bit. Be open to some humor. Give yourself permission to smile. Give yourself permission to laugh. I can tell you this as well when and I'm only using my personal experiences, guys, just to share with you guys, please feel free to post, hoping that you guys can relate to this and not, expecting this isn't the Deanna show. This is just so that you can relate, hopefully, is, when I was diagnosed with diabetes, I went through some pretty bad times. I went through some pretty deep depression. I'm not going to lie to you. One of the things that got me out was connecting to a very good friend of mine. He had been in remission from cancer, and he had written this phenomenal show called Cancer Can't Dance Like This. And he had used humor to help him through his own journey of this new chapter. And I was desperate for something. I needed something to kind of help me get back to me. And laughter, smiling, happy, all that joy was truly what helped get me through. And even on the worst days, I can't remember who it is. I think it's Jamie might be able to remind me of her name. A lady we heard speak, something Lee said, like, in those moments that you're like really, really feeling down in the dumps, make a ridiculously happy face, like ridiculously happy. And even I encourage you to like look at yourself in the mirror being ridiculously happy. And there's something about it that just like sparks it into you. I remember, why am I blanking on her name? Rachel Hollis used to say like 1, 2, 3 state. And like, I'm not going to clap, otherwise it's going to break your eardrums, but like just 1, 2, 3 state. And like, it's amazing how when you acknowledge that you need the shift, I always end up laughing at myself because I look like a silly person. It's usually like in the car and I'm like 1, 2, 3 state. Maybe it's pumping up, listening something funny. As I said at the top of the call, following a healthy, active lifestyle is going to help you. Keeping your body moving. I'm going to give you an example of a mood changing workout in a little bit. But just all those little things that we can do, keeping on top of our nutrition, it really can make an impact. Surrounding yourself with positive people. Hey, you're on the call right now with a bunch of them. I see who's on this call. Find those situations, find those areas. Yes, absolutely. Mel Robbins' 5-second rule is an amazing, amazing one. And favorite song, Dancing. Yes, love it. To find those people that bring you up, empower you, lift you up. It's funny. I feel like now that having been around so many positive people now for so long, it's very evident when the energy is a bit different and it's almost more challenging now. I'm a big energy person. So really surrounding yourself with people that really just empower you. I was on a meditation circle the other day and someone was talking about having deep conversations. And I love that language of those people that you can connect to and just talk deeply, for lack of a better way of saying it. I hope that makes sense. And practicing positive self-talk to talk. This is the one that I could preach on, and I've said this to myself. This was a big learning lesson for me. I've said this to a bunch of my clients and a bunch of our team is when you catch yourself saying really crummy things to yourself, imagine it's going to be different for each of you guys. Imagine it's your best friend. Imagine it's your mom. Imagine it's your child that you are saying those words to. How would you feel if you walked by and you saw someone saying those same things to that person that you love beyond belief and you're so protective of? Your sibling, whoever it is for you. If it is so not okay to say it to someone else, why is it okay to say it to yourself? I challenge you to think on that. So try, and that's why you'll even see sometimes within our challenges, I'll challenge you to call and pull out things about yourself that you love, things about your personality, things about your body, find those things that you love about yourself and acknowledge them. And I know for a fact it's hard at first to do it. Gosh, this was a hard one for me too. But the other side of the coin of it, guys, feels really good. And the energy that you're admitting, I'm trying to find the word, forward is so powerful. And it does shift And it doesn't happen overnight. It takes work. And even if you get to a point where you're like, I'm feeling really good, I think I have a positive mindset, I got really good, my confidence is great, I'm being nice to myself, something guarantee, usually the universe is like, oh, you think you got this? Boom, challenge. Now try again. And, it's, can I pick myself up and start again and work towards that positive mindset? And there's going to be the days, guys, that like, I have them too, where I'm like, I'm so frustrated because I'm in a crappy mood and I'm trying all the things and it's not working. Shake it off. Take a breath. You're human. Acknowledging it is truly the first step in it because you're not in denial about it. And you can get yourself through it in some way. Just keep trying different ways. Or think of me doing that weird cat face. I wanted to bring this up. I'm not going to go very deep into this. You've probably heard the concept of fixed mindset versus growth mindset. When I was looking at the negative and positive thinking, it was just very clearly feeling like there was things falling in both of those two categories. I'm currently reading Mel Robbins' Take Control of Your Life, which is amazing. If you haven't read it, do. And she talks a little bit about this in this as well. And sometimes we don't realize that like the certain components of a fixed mindset we might have, but have the faith that you actually can move into the growth mindset. So, let yourself grow, let yourself do this baby steps to get where you need to do. Again, acknowledging those moments where you're like, wow, I'm being a victim right now. Or wow, I'm being really negative Nancy right now. Wow, I'm like, when you're aware of them, it allows you to kind of shift the script a little bit. So again, you can take a snap of this. I'm not going to go into this super in depth because I have a lot that I want to cover with you guys. Any questions at all, please feel free to put on the chat. If this is making sense, throw me a number, an emoji, throw me whatever, just so I know that this is landing. So ways that you can help your mindset. So, except I wrote you mindset, keeping you on your toes, or myself. Things to kind of check into. What do you plug into? Like, what do you plug into? For me personally, and I'll talk about this in a second, I stopped watching the news a very long time ago. Now, of course, during this pandemic, I'm aware of what's going on. I'm not living in my own little utopia, as nice as that would be. I am making the choice of when I'm bringing that information in. Because if I start my day with everything of all the stuff, it's too heavy for me. I'm an energy-driven person. It weighs me down and just no matter what will just sink me to the ground. So I try my best, even on the challenging days, to soak in some personal development right off the top. I'm going to talk to you guys in just a little bit of it, a couple tips on how you can start your day, but be aware of what you're plugging into. Are you a CNN watcher, CP24 on regular? There's no problem in being connected. There's no problem in being educated on what's going on in our world, but just know what is coming in. I encourage you to shift it up, like switch it up, put in some goodness. If you're a Mel Robbins fan, listen to some of her stuff. Rachel Hollis, another, Jim Rohn, Mark Hughes. There's so many really great people to listen to and plug into that just can shift your spirit. Lisa Nichols, like there's so many people. Just Google something that you want to kind of focus and narrow in on, and there is someone there to help inspire you. Who are you surrounding yourself with? And I talked about that in just a second ago, of people that are lifting you up, people that are, making you feel appreciated and loved, and, being the best version of yourself. Do they challenge you? Who are those people that you're surrounding yourself with? Are they people that are bringing you down? And hey, I know sometimes it can be family and that can be challenging, but finding a way to surround yourself with people that lift you up. And that's why I say, we talk a lot about mentors. Like, and I said, say down below, like, what are you listening to? What are you reading to? Mentor doesn't have to be somebody that you know. A mentor could be a Mark Hughes, a Jim Rohn, a Rachel Hollis, a Mel Robbins, a Tony Robbins, whoever it is for you, is that positive force within you. If you haven't found what is something you're passionate about, connect to some of the people in our challenge, reach out. There's a lot of awesome people that would make awesome friends, and we're all looking for support, positive people to be around. So, hey, there you go. How you start your day, we'll talk about that in just a second. How do you keep your mindset positive? We touched on that a little bit. And we're going to talk a little bit about some practices you can do daily and some of the things you can do to get into state quickly. So Adinda mentioned beautifully, like dancing to her favorite song to change her attitude. Mel Robbins' 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is a great one. What are some things that you can click into that really change your state? I love dancing too. Dancing is such a good one. Jessie Lee, thank you. Jessie Lee Ward was the smile girl. I knew you got my back. So another factor for that can affect our mindset, as I said off the top, is stress. So I'm going to dive a little deeper into some of the 6 factors that Dr. David Heber talks about. But I wanted this little quick reminder for those of you who didn't see the last time we talked about this was, did you know that our body does not actually discriminate between the sources of stress? So whether the stress is actually coming from an actual event, like nearly getting hit by a car, or simply thinking about the possibility of that, your body will still act the same way. So again, weird side story. I have a weird thing about sharp knives, like those living butcher knives. I used to have serious anxiety about it cutting me. It was not near me, but I would have the same stress as I would probably have if it actually did. So it's that same thing. Our body can't discern between the two of them. So if we can kind of keep ourselves in a state of calm as much as possible, it will help our bodies with that overall reaction. So in uncertain times, when stress can have a huge impact on our body, our health and bodies, it's important we're informed of ways that we can kind of decrease that stress. So again, our 6 R's to reduce stress, and I've added to enhance a positive mindset because I think they go hand in hand. So rest. This was a learning lesson for me in October. For everyone who's been doing the last few challenges, who've been on some of the calls, I admitted for a long time, I was like, I need to get on my sleep. I got 2 kids under 4, guys. Well, technically just over 4. And a 1-year-old who does not like sleeping, doesn't believe it's a thing he should do. So it's a force. It's a force of stress that I have to try to navigate how to get sleep in, rest in around that current challenge or obstacle within my journey. I realized just how much it was, and I needed to make sure it was a priority in my day. So I've been working at it and I've been improving, guys. My Fitbit is no longer saying under 4 hours as often, occasionally if I have a 4 a.m. call, but we're getting there. So the importance of sleep, guys. Sleep plays an important role on our physical health. Very important to remember, as well as our mental health. Getting the right amount of sleep at the proper times will help protect your physical and mental health. You're just not yourself, guys. There's all those little things that you work so hard at to keep kind of flowing and operating at the best of their ability. You're a bit weaker when your sleep is not there. It helps our learning skills, our problem solving skills. And when you're not getting proper sleep, you can have a really hard time making decisions, solving problems, and controlling your emotions. Preach, preach, preach. It's so important, guys. And I've used the analogy before of the full cup, of the vase analogy. I believe it's Rachel Hollis, so I'll make sure to give her the credit for this, is the idea. You probably all heard me talk about this, but because I think it's a beautiful analogy. There's a tendency, if you imagine ourselves as a vase and a pitcher above us that's just pouring an endless amount of water, endless, doesn't end, limitless. We have this tendency of wanting to spill to our children, to our family, to our coworkers, to whoever. We just want to give, and give. But what happens if we keep doing this motion? What happens if this beautiful glass jar of ourselves smashes to the ground and lands in a million pieces? How much do we have to give then? So what if we instead focus on filling our cup with rest, with all the things we're going to talk about in a second, being the best, healthiest version of ourselves in mind, body, and soul. So when that beautiful vase fills up, you're going to spill it out, which is so much healthier for everyone. And what a beautiful example to be leading to everyone else is the importance of you as well. Because if we're not taking care of ourselves, guys, we're just not the best version of ourselves, and we're not doing ourselves a favor in our overall health. And it's going to make it really challenging to stick to any health goals you're working on, because all those demons we just talked about, all those things that we kind of got to work on through our mindset are just going to come running back. Okay. So relaxation, again, maybe sleep doesn't always work out exactly, but we're working towards it. Resting is also important. So there's lots of different ways we can do relaxation. One of the ones I've been kind of exploring a little bit more is the concept of meditation. We talked about this in past challenges. We talked about this on past calls. And maybe meditation isn't for you. To be honest, I was scared of it. I was nervous I was going to fall asleep every time. I was nervous that I didn't have 45 minutes to dedicate to a solid meditation session. But what I've learned recently is, guys, you can do a good solid meditation in 2 minutes. It might just be something where you're just sitting focused and focusing on your breath. That counts too. It doesn't have to be a whole session. You can find it through, there's a bunch of apps you can find. There's the Calm app. There's a list of them. If you have one that you use, pop it in the thread. If you struggle getting to sleep at night, there's some really great ones that help you get to sleep. I had to use them a lot when I was in the latter stages of pregnancy with Weston, because I just couldn't sleep properly. Sorry, I'm gonna mute. So, not being afraid to look to some other sources, and power of breath is just so magical, and really just being able to focus and zero in. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one because I'm not an expert. As I said, it's something I'm still working through myself. Take a snapshot if you want. But it is something that I highly recommend you guys considering putting into your routine, especially if you're someone who does encounter a lot of stress. Just tuck in away somewhere and just take in a breath. Doesn't have to be on your desk like that, lady, but why not? Recreation. Well, guys, again, in these times, things are a bit different. Some people are still participating in various sporting, maybe not events, but sporting things that they're able to be operating. Not all the gyms are open. Some people are like myself are kind of not quite gym ready yet. So it can be hard to kind of figure out, okay, how am I going to get the recreation part in it? And for various reasons, recreation outside is an amazing thing to do. Number one, you're getting that vitamin D that our body needs. Number two, I don't know the science behind this, but I remember my dad said this to me when we kind of started this whole quarantine thing, because we got so used to the 4 walls around us. And he said, it's so important for our brains to see past that. So like going for a drive, I remember the first drive we did, and we live around a lot of open fields and stuff. And my brain just I said to Jamie, I'm like, I feel drunk. It's just like my brain just couldn't take it all in because it was just not used to it. So going out for a walk in nature when you can, there's something beautiful about, number one, being connected to the trees and being outside and being in nature, but there's just some sort of magic that comes to it. So again, figuring out what works for you. I did add shoveling snow and tobogganing because as I was writing the slide, the snow was quite coming down yesterday. So, maybe it's raking leaves. Maybe it's, enjoying whatever nature's provided us outside. If you're not going to a gym, you don't have a home gym, maybe it's an online workout. Maybe it's, we have our 30-day ab challenge that we've got in the challenge as well. Like finding something that keeps you moving. And again, it's that 1% better every day for you, but it is an incredible source of decompression for stress. So this was a workout that was posted on the Herbalife Nutrition Facebook page, and I loved it. And I'm going to try and start doing it as well, because there is nothing better than just I know Adinda said, she does a little dance party, but about just moving your body, just getting your body moving. So really simple, doing 10 skiers. And again, maybe the specific exercises aren't for you. The idea is something that's going to really move your body that you can do. So 10 skiers, I'll post on within our challenge and in Blue Skies what this looks like, which one this is, or you can look at it on the Herbalife Nutrition page, is 10 skiers, 10 jumping jacks, and 10 surfies, which full disclosure, it's kind of like a glorified burpee. Looks really cool. So just do what you can do, is knowing you're not going to get tested. Doing this 10 times each, or 10 times, and then 3 times of each. And it's just a great thing to just get your body moving. We often say even just do 10 jumping jacks and see how your mood feels after. All right, relationships. This is an important time more than ever to stay connected. And I don't mean necessarily all lovey-dovey stuff. I mean the relationships we have between family, friends, the whole shebang. So, again, we're all in different stages of this whole thing, of this whole 2020 stage. For those of you guys who are still not socializing as much, or I mean, we're all should still be, aware of our gathering sizes. It's so important to still connect. Go for a social distance walk. Do a Zoom in nature, outside, even better. Do a Zoom with a friend. Do a Zoom with a family member. Have a phone call. Those things that we play with. I'm using mine as a camera. I don't know. I'm looking for it. They can go like this too. And I need to learn this too. I already said on the call. I have my own phone issues. But the idea is, guys, this connection is so important. I love our wellness workshop calls because, I'm looking on this call, I see my beautiful cousin here. I see my beautiful friends here. I see beautiful new friends. I have a connection. I have connection that's happening right now. Whether I'm talking to you one-on-one right now, my heart is warm. My heart is full, right? So allowing yourself those moments, because we may not realize how much we need it until we realize how much we need it. I went for one of my first social distance walks with a friend of mine the other day, and I felt like I was vibrating energy. I just felt so much more connected to me. And it was just that healthy reminder that even in these times, we need to find a way, because we do need that connection. So again, whether it's in person or it's through technology, make it happen. One of the girls that I was doing this meditation group with was saying that she and her best friend, who live on opposite sides of Ontario, have booked in days once a month to just have an hour-long phone gab, just a conversation. Because life goes like this. And suddenly it's July, and suddenly it's December, and we haven't talked to one of our good friends since February. I mean, how often does that happen where you're like, oh my God, I messaged this person. I thought I messaged them yesterday, and it was like May. Oh my God. So make it a priority. All right, guys, routine. Again, it's important to have that for our mind as well, to decrease that stress. So give a couple tips here, guys. Some of you have heard this before, on setting your day off for success. So this is the first 6 minutes introduced to me by Amy Rich, one of my mentors in the GGC community. You've heard me talk about it already off the top. It's just as important it's just as important as the food we put in our mouth is what we're putting in our mind. Jim Rohn says, be the gatekeeper of your mind. We need to be aware of what we're feeding it. So as I said, social media, if the first thing you're doing is picking up your phone, what is it that's coming into you? Luckily, because the algorithm and so many of the people that I have in my life are positive people, if I do pick up my phone, it's not usually too bad. But I'm conscious about not looking at the Twitters and I actually don't even use Twitter anymore because I found it was too much. But being aware of that. Getting a crummy text in the morning is also a hard one too. You're like, man, poor night's sleep, self-talk, or self-doubt, lack of time, all of these things. If we're not kind of giving ourselves that little step ahead, we can pull ourselves backwards. So the first 6 minutes, I highly recommend you take a picture of this. I'm being very transparent. I used to be very religious about this. I'm adapting to this with my current situation with children that wake up before me, especially on the days where I'm like, I got it. I'll wake up at 5 and they beat me every time. But the power of this, even if you can do some of it, I encourage you to do it. Even if you can do only one of this and it's scattered throughout the day, or you do this at lunch, or you do this whenever, just do it. Is, ideally at the beginning of the day, taking a moment of silence. The power of silence is so important, just to be connected to you. Waking up, maybe even before you fully open your eyes, if you're allowed that opportunity. I'm looking at some of us with kids here. That second minute, affirmations. We talk about negative self-talk. What's an affirmation? It's positive self-talk. So you're flipping the script right from the first moment you open your eyes, or you're in the state of waking up. Whether you have them in a notebook, you have them in sticky tabs near your bed, whether you just kind of have a mantra, whatever it is, repeating that for a solid minute or thinking on it. Visualization, third minute, 1 minute, whether you can probably see Jamie's vision board there. I'm in our bedroom. Mine's over here. Visualize. Close your eyes. What I said, look at your vision board if you've got it. How do you want to feel today? Set some intentions. See yourself accomplishing the goals that you're setting out. And guys, goals and wins, they don't have to be climbing Mount Everest. They can be what feels small, but works you towards the big thing. You know, Mel Robbins says Lego block by Lego block. Gratitude, everything you want to accomplish for that day and things that you're grateful for. Personal development. Let me know if you lose me because it's telling me my internet is unstable. Personal development, taking a minute to read from one of your favorite books, or, you know, go onto YouTube, as I said, and, you know, pop in inspirational video about gratitude. I don't know. I can't think right now, and something great will pop up. I bet you. Whatever draws you in, just take a minute, soak it in. Even if you're doing a million things, one of my mentors once said, you know, you'll get what you're supposed to get. You'll get what you're supposed to get. If you got a 30-minute recording and you only heard 10 seconds of it, I bet you it was what you're supposed to hear. Just let yourself do it. It will change your state. And as we said, that movement idea, whether it's jumping on the spot, whether it's doing that workout, little workout thing I just mentioned, anything that you can do that works with your body to just start changing your mood and changing your energy. One extra thing that I wanted to kind of talk about, this was a newer concept to me. I was talking to some of the coaches about this the other day, about the idea, Emily introduced to us the idea of the win journal. And I loved it because we get so fixated on, you know, as we said earlier in the call, the things that didn't go right, the things that we didn't accomplish. And especially once we fall down that rabbit hole, it can be hard to see the things that we did well. So at the end of the day, the idea is just to write down all of the things that you did that you're proud of. It can be a win, can be I woke up this morning. A win could be I got out of bed this morning. One of my favorites, Christine Killing, once said in a group, she said, you know, I kept my kids alive today. Some days it's hard being a parent, right? It can be challenging. You got them fed. They laughed a couple times, hopefully. Maybe they yelled at you the whole time, told you you're the worst person. Oh, well, they'll forget about it tomorrow, hopefully. You know, like, give yourself the grace that everything may not feel monumental, but it counts and it's definitely worth it. Progress equals happiness, Tony Robbins says, and it couldn't be further from the truth, right? We're progressing. That's a win. All right. Last couple of things, and I'll be heading over to Jill so you can take a break from my voice. Gratitude is so key, guys. You know, we had in our challenge today the concept of saying 3 things that you're grateful for. If you can make a habit of it every day. For me, when I'm in a moment of stress, or, you know, the kids drive me crazy. I'm using the kids a lot. It's been a challenging parenting day, I'm not gonna lie. Is stopping for a second, taking a breath, and thinking of 3 things I'm grateful for. And your mood can shift, maybe not right away, but it does shift. So focus on the gratitude as much as you can. Last couple, reframing. You know, if you're really getting stuck in the stress, guys, connect to a professional, connect to someone who can help guide you through it. But I find that for me, helping me give me the tools to reprogram and to reframe comes from listening to audiobooks and reading books by people that, you know, have been through similar things and are sharing tactics of what helped them get through it. Again, we're all going to be sorry, that's my husband. You know, we're all going to be going through different challenges at different times, but on most cases, many people have, well, in all cases, people have been through it before. And, you know, they say, you know, look, connect with people that are where you want to be. And maybe that, you know, that can be in the grander scheme of business and life too, but it also can be in moments of dealing with stress. Right. So just threw in a couple of things that when I look at some of the reprogram that I have helped me along the way is the concept of switching can'ts to won'ts. And sometimes a can't is like, I can't run. I can't run was when I said forever. And I reframed to I won't run. And I was like, I don't like that. So I started working on running. I'm still working on the running thing, but it's what you tell yourself. All right. This was the bonus tip. Visualization and goal setting, being clear on your goals and what you truly want it does help us to move towards what truly we want and what really brings us joy. So don't be afraid to visualize the things you want, the things that you aspire to be, to do. You're allowed to think big. If anyone told you that you can't, I'm going to say that they're wrong. So allow yourself to think big. Allow yourself to push yourself a little bit further every day. All right. Now I get a break. I'm going to throw it over to Jill to walk us through self-care ain't selfish, isn't selfish. Over to you, Jill.
Thanks, Deanna. Actually, it's rather interesting. Self-care is it's highly related to all of the things that Deanna's already been talking about this evening. It's, self-care is, looking after yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, then you're not going to have the strength or the ability to be looking after anyone else. And, whether you have kids, whether you have parents, whether you are, whether you're on your own, those are just things that you need to be doing to make sure that you've got the strength and the wherewithal and the ability to carry on. So that's what it really is all about. And what you have to do is figure out the things that are best for you. Deanna certainly gave us lots of different strategies, and some of the things that I'm going to be suggesting are very, very similar. Whether your mindset and your stress reduction all have to do with self-care and keeping yourself in the right frame of mind. It is really important to be able to implement them into your routine, things that work for you and that it boosts your well-being, not just for today, but forever. So again, developing a routine that works for you. There's many different ways to find out about self-care, like strategies, whether you join a self-care group, whether you work with a coach, whether it's just taking a hot bath, doing meditation, whatever. There's many different ways to tackle it. The list that's on there, like these were recommendations, things that were suggested by Psychology Today. And again, as I said, some of them are going to be repeats of the things that Deanna's already shared. Number one, make sleep part of your self-care routine. The more sleep, not necessarily the more sleep, but consistent amount of sleep makes a huge difference in how you're able to handle your day and the days going forward. Take care of yourself by taking care of your gut. Gut is obviously very important. So, the nutrition that you're putting in, the things that you're doing are all really, really important. Exercising daily is part of your self-care routine. Again, whether it's a full workout at the gym, whether it's just working out at your home, doing personal, the personal exercises that you do that work for you, whatever, but just taking time for yourself in that regard is huge. And eating right for self-care. When you set a goal in your mind as to what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, how you want to feel, you do have to take those steps that are necessary to fulfill those goals. And eating properly is really important. Say no to others and say yes to you. Sometimes we get pulled into doing things that you say yes to it, and then afterwards you're going, oh, why did I do that? I could have been spending my time on other things that are more better for me and for my own self-care. So being able to say no to people is really, really important. I mean, there are some things you want to say yes to, but be selective and make sure it's for the right reasons. Take a self-care trip. So whether it's right now it's kind of hard to do because of COVID, but if you can escape to a spa, escape to the Scandinave, or just even if it's an afternoon or if it's a whole adventure, those are things that to do that are good for yourself. And whether it's a self-help, a growing, sorry about the phone. So whether there's a you know, a self-improvement kind of element to it as well is always really good. Take a break, get outside and go for a walk. Um, there is so much to appreciate. Again, the gratitude part of it is really imperative, and giving yourself a break and going out and seeing what nature has to offer and all the things that we've been blessed with. Um, have a pet, like let a pet help you with your self-care. If you have a pet, it's amazing how you can escape with them, whether it be a dog, a cat, or even going out to the barn and hanging out with the animals at the barn. Those are all things that are really good for your soul. Um, take care of yourself by getting organized. You'd be amazed what a difference it makes when you take that bit of time, get your, whether it be your desk, your bedroom, whatever, and so you know where things are. It takes that extra bit of time to get it in place, but once it's in place, it just makes life a whole lot easier. And again, it helps with the stress reduction as well. Cooking at home to take care of yourself. Now that's if you really like cooking. If you don't like cooking, then, and you can afford it, then eating out might be the answer. But cooking, being creative in the kitchen can work wonders for your self-care as well. So, you know, checking out some of those new recipes that are good for you, that's the thing to do. Reading a book like on self-care, for self-care. I've got a whole library of self-help books, and it just helps you get your mind in the right place, helps you look at things from a different perspective. And just, as I said, looking after yourself is imperative, and making sure that you schedule time to do these things and to guard that time. Don't let others kind of creep in and make you feel guilty if you say, no, I'm busy right now, this is something I have to do for me. Stick with it. It's good for you. Again, it's good for the soul. All of these things can make a huge difference in how you feel. So the more you work on your own self-care time, you know, the better you're able to grow and enjoy your life and thrive and just be able to, and have the strength and the wherewithal to go out and look after others as well. If that's what your own personal goal is. But anyway, thanks so much, and make sure you look after yourself.
Amazing, Jill. So many nuggets there, guys. Thank you so much for that. Definitely gonna touch on a second, my little soup recipe there that is usually one of my favorite things to do as a self-care thing, because it's like a no think kind of thing. I just go for it. All right, guys, moving along. Won't be too much longer, guys. So we say shake it up, and usually we're offering you guys a cold beverage, but as things got warmer, I thought I'd share with you guys one of my personal favorites. And this one is made with our rebuild. So this is kind of a drink that you got to earn. For those of you guys who are familiar with our Herbalife 24 lines, this is our post-workout beverage. However, so this recipe that I've got here calls for rebuild and hot water, but I actually, and quite honest, used to make it with our protein drink mix as well. So you have the chocolate protein drink mix at home. You can also do it with this way as well. But one little tip I want to give you guys when you're making this is you're actually going to add a little bit of cold water before you add in the powder. You're going to stir it up to make it into a paste. And actually, then you're going to add the hot water. It allows it to maintain some of its properties. So you're still getting the benefit of the rebuild. And it tastes so much better. Jamie just went on camera, probably just to say it's delicious. I don't know. Or he just accidentally turned on his camera. But so good. I highly recommend it. You giving it a shot. As I said, this is one you want to earn. You want to drink a bunch of these a day because it is going to have some carbohydrates in there. I think you can. I've done it kind of as a mix with the meal replacement and the protein drink mix. I know that Susan Bowerman has a recipe where she does use milk for it to use the F1 as well. So this particular recipe, I don't want to say confidently with it, you could do it for sure. It may not maintain all its properties the exact same either, but I know the protein drink mix that you can make one as well. And Rebuild does taste better, says this long name is actually just Jamie, because his Zoom doesn't like to make his name his own. But if you haven't tried it, definitely try a Rebuild hot chocolate. They are so, so yum. It'll make you just want to work out every day so you can have them hot. I was having them hot in the summer. Jamie made fun of me. All right. So get creative. We usually have, a dessert that we're showing, but what I wanted to kind of showcase for you guys today is number one, as we're getting into the colder weather, we, I don't know about you guys, but I tend to gravitate to soups and chilies and all that goodness that, you can just like fills you from the bottom up. Like, it's just so, so good. We're also kind of coming up against flu season. We're all, hopeful and that we're not going to come across any colds or anything like that, but they happen. So this is one of the recipes that I always go to. I love it. But why I'm adding it today, not only is it a great recipe, but you can actually use the personalized protein powder, which is flavorless, I should say. And you can add it to any recipe, hot or cold, to enhance the protein value. So this recipe, it's a veggie soup. I call it the Witch's Cauldron, kind of a day late from Halloween, but because that's just the way I cook. I throw a million spices. I throw a bunch of veggies in. I'm only now learning how to be a better baker because I have to follow instructions. So this is a great soup. The spicier you make it, side note, the better it is when you're sick to really just get cleaned out. They're really, really great. So full of vitamins. It's so, so yum. And it's something you can do in a crock pot. You can do a massive batch of it and just kind of have it in the fridge to kind of have as you go. If you're someone who likes more of a blended soup, no problem. Stick it in a processor and kind of blend that up. But this is I'm not going to go into all the bells and whistles of it. You're welcome to take a screenshot of this. And this just, again, a side note that you can add that personalized protein powder to any recipe. You can even add it to burgers. You can add it to anything to just enhance that protein value with a nice, clean protein. So I hope you enjoy it. Let me know if you try it. It's my fave. All right. So quickly reminder, we do have our 3-day trial challenge that kicks off tomorrow. I know a lot of you guys on this call are taking part in our Act on a Challenge, but if you do know anyone who's wanting to jump on the challenge tomorrow, it is kicking off. Again, we're going to be having another one of these in the future. So just a good thing to remember. All you need is your 3-day trial, which is consists of 6 smoothies and 6 energy tabs. You're going to get snack and meal ideas. You're going to get coaching and support from the community and prizes. And it's fun because we actually connect up with our bigger Herbalife family, if you will, our Australian family. So it's a really, really fun challenge with loads of value in there. So that is that. Just gives you a quick example of what else is going on. And before I let you guys go, I'm really super excited because we haven't done this in a long time. But we were chatting with the coaches the other day, and we've had a couple people reach out to us to just kind of get a bit of a gauge on what we do as coaches in the community. So if you're curious about what we've been up to, someone who's been curious about what we're up to, and you want to just hear maybe some more in depth about some of the results of some of our community members, I want you to just pop into your journal there, pop into wherever you keep track of things. Next Tuesday at 7 p.m., we're going to be doing our Join the Team call, which is our Herbalife opportunity call. It allows you to hear some of the results in both health and wealth from some of the people in our community that are making an impact. We'll probably be touching on a couple of the things that are upcoming as well. So mark your calendars for that. Reminder that we're here every single Monday, guys, with our wellness workshop. So next week, we're going to be narrowing in on the third pillar there of that exercise component. So I'll probably be pulling on a couple of our coaches that really rock within that world as well to give you some more value to the exercise component of our pillars. So thank you so much for carving out a little bit of your Monday with us. Look at that. We're just under the hour, which was always my hope. Huge thank you to Jill for your share today. So much value and goodness there. I hope you guys got some value from what I had to throw out today. I know there was a lot. I'm going to have this recording available if you need to rewatch it or take any screen grabs from it or pass along to any of the people within the challenge or any of your own clients within the challenge or within our community. So with that, I'm sending you lots of love and light from me to you. Let's be kind to one another. A smile goes a long way. Remember, you're having a bad day. the really goofy cat face, I think she calls it. The smile is so powerful. Let's be kind to one another. I got your back. Have an amazing night. Good night.